What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, September 12th to all of you. Welcome to Sportsbook Review. This is the Betting with the Bag show. Thank you guys so much for watching. 9 a.m. here in San Jose, Costa Rica. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat already. I know the big news coming out about the mono for Sam Darnold. So funny because this morning I put in Browns minus 2.5. And I also put in my 2-unit play in the $50,000 pick six contest as the over in Falcons-Eagles, and I didn't bet it yet. Didn't give it out on the show. Didn't bet it yet. So although it's on my pick six contest, I don't get it as part of my action. Very disappointing, but we're going to talk Thursday night football. We are going to talk CFL. We're going to talk MLB, but we're going to focus mostly on MLB for at least in the first 35, 40 minutes. In 28 minutes, we're going to be joined by Bono. 20 minutes after that, we're going to be joined by Teddy Covers. This is a packed Thursday. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. There's AM says, let's go low baggers first in the chat. Let's get it. AM, I am at some point, and maybe with Bono as well today, talk about the possible work stoppage in NHL that looks like we'll find out on September 15th. Maybe we should wait because the NHL will opt out of their agreement on September 15th. So maybe we should just wait until that happens, although we expect that to happen. But it doesn't matter. Even if the Players Union or the NHL, one of them opts out, then looks like we may have a work stoppage a year from now. But we will be talking about that. Shout out to my guy AM. We got Jermel right in the house. Good morning. Low baggers breaking news. Darnold out for week 2 against the Browns. Man, I should have bet it this morning. just overwhelmed. Anna Merrick, Dre Machi, Tiago Ruiz. Anna Merrick will be on our late show breaking down UFC. We got Comic Ricky now. Steve Cordero. Walla Dose. Matt Randall says, Taint at plus money last night hit. Great job, Matt Randall. Why did I go up against the Taint? That's what cost me. I would have had a winning day had I not gone up against the Taint. What a mistake that was. We got Ty Clinton, Ron Crawford, Ski Profit, Alfonso Acosta in the house. Christopher Smith, Series Business. Beats in the house. Got Arizona plus 1.5 this morning. Nice job. Gate Pass Key. Finally. Great to get a day off pipelining and hang out with the low bag fam. Nice to see Gate Pass Key. Got a big hockey season coming up. Gerald Martinez, Nasty Nate, Buzzo TV, Top Set, Shell Dog. What a great group. Carlos Peroj and his cheesy balls. First off, we had a new commenter on yesterday's show that went by the name of Sports Teacher. And that's what he did with his action last night. Baltimore first 5. I was on that as well. I got that at plus 170. He did as well. He was on Atlanta money line, Mets money line, Washington money line with the plus money of Baltimore first 5. Goes 4 for 4. Smashes a 4 for 4 day in our chat. And therefore, day 1 of his career in the low bag chat, at least commenting, he wins our Vegas Gun Award for excellence in capping. Rafa, can you pop that up one time? There you go, Sports Teacher. Nice work. Speaking of the $50,000 pick six contest, there is still time to jump in. Still time to jump into our contest. You still are eligible for the grand prize, for all the good stuff. It doesn't matter that you missed week 1. It does not matter. Let me put the link in right now. Here we go. Copy and paste. Edit. Sorry, my fault. Here we go. Okay, I screwed that up. All right, here we go. Let's get to the contests. $50,000 pick six. There we go. And then I'm going to copy it right now. Here we go. Sorry about this. I know we have a lot of work to do. And I'm going to pop it right here in the chat. There you go. Shell Dog says, thanks for Baltimore first 5 to me. Yeah, that was great. And full game to both cash. There's Brooke Jordan in the house. Oh, Matt Randall also took Georgia State moneyline plus 285. I will copy and paste that right now. Copy and paste that. And I'd like to make a couple moves. So I'm shocked that I'm not going to be able to. What a mistake. And Topset says, Nats first 5 run line cash is back on track. Nice work. There's the real DJX in the house. First thing I want to do is I want to lock in my 2-unit play that it's only going to be a 1-unit bet, but 2-unit play in the contest in NFL. Sucks that I can't add in the Browns anymore. That was my mistake for just being lazy. Look, this Thursday nighter we're going to talk about with both Bono and Teddy covers makes me extremely uncomfortable. You're going to give me 7 points. I'd probably take them with Tampa, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that, especially when they had, 3 days to recover from the flu that's supposedly going through the locker room. But what I am going to do is go to the NFL page right now, and I'm going to lock in a play on this card. I'm going to lock in the over. Let's go to totals. Keep me saying it's 51. Oh, look, 51.5 already at 5 times. Wow, Pinnacle's about to move to 51.5. God, I should have bet this already. Over 51 at minus 105. Eagles, Falcons. There we go. Over. Let's get this in. Over 51 minus 105. Eagles, Falcons. And that is my 2-unit play in the contest. There's Jason Turgi. There's Pigeon Depot. Nice. He got the under with the Strasburg strikeouts. And Russell Gordon says 2 hours picking faves in September, gents. Dogs every day. Dogs every day. And Jessica Grammer says Sam Darnold is out. Le'Veon to have MRI on his shoulder. Man, going to be cashing that under 1,125.5 yards on Le'Veon. Love where the futures are looking. And Raymond says, I have Browns -3 for Monday Night Football. I have 2.5 in the contest, but didn't make the move there. And just to go over, we also have a CFL game we got to go over, but this is too big of a spread for a divisional game, but I'm not going to trust the Buccaneers. I find Carolina to be a very, very unpredictable team. They seem to have this disinterested quarterback. I mean, I'm sure Cam Newton will change that, but that's what it looked like week 1. Oft injured, disinterested. Bucks looked bad. The running game looked okay. Mike Evans dealing with the flu gets completely controlled by Ahkello Witherspoon. I'm off of it. I don't want to make a move there. And our first week of NFL went pretty well. Rafa, can you pop up that NFL record? It went, but just for me, for first weeks. No, it wasn't a winning week, but I traditionally do really bad first and second week, so I'm very comfortable right there. There's DJ Big Boss in the house. Joseph Gomez, Raymond, Shell Dog. Let's get to work right now in MLB. And yesterday was disappointing. Early in the day, I thought I was going to have a big, big day in MLB. And things went south in a hurry for me. Let's go over what happened. Here we go. Where it starts with Orioles, first 5 plus 170 cash. Then I lose Boston, Toronto over 10.5. That was my birthday pick. The Red Girls 8-0 after the 5th. The Red Sox did nothing to help me. Brewers -1 cash. Nationals first 5 cash. Man, and then the losing. Then Oakland, Houston over 10.5 loss. Giants -1 at plus 104 loss. Reds -1 at minus 112 loss. Should have gone first 5. Very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. But show up that MLB record. Sadly, I got to put that up on the board. Oh, God. Getting worse every day, man. There's Trot Wham and now there's Shadow here joining us. And Shadow saying cheers all to and sending prayers out to the Briggs and Randall family. Yes, Briggs is going to be coming home very soon. I'd love to get an update from Matt, see when that is going to happen, because we've been sending so much positivity over to the Randall family, and we're so excited to watch our guy Briggs stroll out of the hospital and head home. That makes us so happy. There's Tyrone Coleman in the house. Imp 13 says just got laid off yesterday. Need to make a paycheck, leaning Bucks tonight. I'm leaning Bucks tonight, but I'm not going to back it. I don't want anything to do with it. There's Alec Holligan ready to get to work. Antoine Seymour. Everybody ready to go? Let's go right now. Diamondbacks, Mets. So we have a lot of afternoon baseball. We got to cover all of those games. And if we don't get to all of them in the next 21 minutes, we're going to have to start with that with Bono, because we got to talk about these afternoon baseball spots. We got the opening lineups, and we got the market moves. So let's get to work right now. I'm on sportsbookreview.com. Again, I have moved my opening line. I've moved my opening line over to Pinnacle. I'll be using Pinnacle opening lines for the next little bit. Let's talk about the Brewers, Marlins. Gio Gonzalez, Miami product, always pitches well in Miami or against Miami. Great numbers in Marlins Park. Brewers opened up at minus 130. They're now at minus 141. Let's take a quick look at what the totals that we're dealing with here. Opened at under 8.5 at minus 111. There's been an 8-cent move to the under. 2 lefties on the hill. Gio and Caleb Smith. Let's see what we're dealing with lineup-wise. Lorenzo Cain, who we know is battling injury right now. And there we go, Prince of the City. Berzanescu was given a win, given Tuesday postponed until last night. Zhang canceled, no bet. Pang win, rest of matches postponed 2-0 again. Nice work. And there we go, Matt Randall, Cubs, play of the day. Also, Georgia State plus 8.5 is the taint. College football play for the weekend. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Matt Randall, going to copy and paste that. Here we go. And there's Ty Clinton ready to get to work. Just going to copy and paste Matt Randall's play of the day. I like the Cubs too, but let's focus right now on this Brewers-Marlins spot. So back to this Brewers lineup. We know that Lorenzo Cain's dealing with an injury, but he's going to play through it now that they don't have Yelich. Moustakas came back, hit a 3-run shot, 31 home runs on the year. He's the big bat, and hitting that 3-run home run was a message to the team that everything's going to be okay. We were on the Brewers yesterday despite that huge market move towards the Marlins. Cain, Grandal, Braun, Moustakas, Austin, Perez, Gamel, Arcia. And for the Marlins, Birdie, Rojas, Cooper, Castro, Alfaro, Diaz, Brinson, Dean. Brewers rating 249, 770 OPS versus lefties. Marlins rating 246, 687 OPS versus lefties. Brewers have won 6 straight now. And Cain, as I said, bruised left knee, but he's going to play through it. Gonzalez, 10-4, 2.42 ERA, 19 career starts against the Marlins. 4-2, 2.68 ERA at Marlins Park. Yet to face Miami this year. Smith, 0-2, 4.91 ERA and 2 career starts against Milwaukee. Smith's been very good at home. Well, solid. 8-5, 3.47 ERA. Top set says, Gio went to my high school. He will have some friends there today. My guy likes him. Full game. There we go. Joe Anici says, I'm on Milwaukee money line, Cubs money line, Mets money line. And there is OG Wham says, Buffalo -5.5 is my best bet for the weekend. We're going to copy and paste all that right now. Consider that copy and paste. There's Raven in the desert in the house. And Russell Gordy going right back with the Orioles. Very interesting look. I love hearing that from Russell Gordy going right back to the Orioles. You know, I actually don't want to jump on the Brewers here. Favorite on the road. Gio Gonzalez, do we trust him? I know he's great in Miami. I don't know. I think Caleb Smith can be dangerous at home. I don't want to start with there we go. Jermel Wright on Brewers -1, first 5 under. I don't know. Raul Parwano, Brewers money line. A. Hilly's on the under. Russell Gordy says Marlins win. I was very bullish on the Brewers yesterday, and I can understand psychologically why I was. I do not think they get the wild card. I'm not the Commodore coming in saying Smith is a quality starter. Viper MB says Marlins never get swept at home. Not how I want to start my morning here with that spot. Let's move over to Diamondbacks, Mets, Alex Young versus Marcus Stroman. We keep seeing these situations where a younger pitcher, let's use Ronaldo Lopez for example, has a complete game, one hitter against the Indians, and then comes back and doesn't look good. And I know Alex Young has been so good, but coming off that spectacular performance, I'm not sold on backing him against the Mets. I'd love to hear what Dom Ricci's doing with this game. Mets open up at -126. There's been a 19-cent move towards them. Let's see when this, or 17 cents, sorry, I kept looking at Bet Online. Let's see when this move happened. Wow, it's coming back. Got all the way up to -156 an hour ago. Holy, and it's coming back. Open at -126. And then by 10 o'clock at night, it was -137. And then if you wanted it this morning at 3 in the morning, you could have got -135. Then it shoots all the way up to -143. I do not trust Alex Young after that spectacular performance. Russell Gordy says, man, fade Stroman every game. He's had one good game, Jimmy. I don't trust him, but I do feel like this is the kind of spot that he steps up. With the Mets, he's 1-2 with a 5.05 ERA, 1.74 whip. He's been bad. He's just been bad. But this could be a spot where he steps up. SoCal Resellers says Diamondbacks first 5 easy money. Mets flat after emotional game yesterday. That's a great point. That is a great, great point. Man, that's tough. Brayman saying I can never get on the right side with the Mets. Jungle Boy says Mets win. D-backs gone. Gave up. And Russell Gordy says Stroman gets rocked. Easy play. I don't know if that's an easy play. Let's take a look at these lineups here for the Mets Diamondbacks right now. And we have Russell on another dog, so I definitely wouldn't talk him off of it. Here we go for Arizona. Ketel Marte, Rojas, Escobar, Walker, Lamb, Ahmed, Avila, Dyson. For the Mets, Rosario, Alonso, Cano, Davis, Conforto, Frazier, Lagares, Nito. You know, I don't know. I don't know what to... If I could have got a better line like the opening line with the Mets, I would take them. But Russell Gordy says 9-11 game hangover going with Arizona, another dog. I get it. And I'm going to make a move. You know, Jamel Wright says Mets scored 9 on 11. Jim Remy says, I have everything fair on this early slate except Tigers first half plus 185 range, but it disappeared as soon as the lineups were confirmed. Matt Randall says Lamb will go yard today. All right, I'm off the Diamondbacks Mets spot. Diamondbacks, Mets. Let's move over to Yankees, Tigers, and let's see how big this market has moved here. Yankees, Tigers. Let's go to money lines. Wow, yeah, big move towards the Tigers. Too bad. But and he was talking first five, wasn't he? First five here. Happ, Boyd. Yeah, there is a plus 190 at Bovada. But Boyd is someone who I think steps up against these Yankees. It's just that Happ is making a run to get in that starting rotation for the playoffs. And he's looked very good in his last two starts. He's bad numbers traditionally against the Tigers. This is a lineup for the Yankees. LeMahieu, Judge, Encarnacion, Boyd, Gregorius, Urshela, Maben, Frazier, Romine. For the Tigers, Reyes, Candelario, Cabrera, Rodriguez, Lugo, Stewart, Demerit, Rogers, and Castro. Commodore saying Mets missing a few bats in the lineup. Rico Roxas says MLB tough in September. Raymond said, would you take the plus half in the Diamondbacks first five or the money line? I would certainly not turn a dog into a favorite. Let's see what you're getting here on the half. Here we go. And where is it here? No, I would take them on the money line. I don't think it makes sense turning dogs into favorites. Nutflush says, I don't ever like losing a Giants bet, but don't lose many. But when I do, I always want to see the winner to be Matt Randall. I feel you there. Gate Pass Key says Yanks run line big. I don't trust the Yanks going big. Russell Gordon says Happ on the mound. Over is the play. He's got bad numbers. 3-2, 5.25 ERA against these Tigers. But he's looked good in his last two starts. Held Oakland, who smashed his lefties, to one hit in 6 innings. Then he follows that up by allowing just 2 hits to Boston on Saturday in 6 1/3. And Kindrami saying my line has calculated updated lineups. And Matt Randall says definitely didn't like you and Jimmy going against the paint. I feel you. I'm making no moves right now on these 3 early games. We'll bring them up to Bono and the Teddy covers, see if that they think there should be a move made. Then Royals, White Sox. Look, I love Giolito, but I'm not going to take these White Sox as this big of a favorite ever. And Giolito's just been okay since the All-Star break. Still 3-5, 3.44 ERA in 11 starts. You know, it goes from minus 173 to minus 195. Maybe at minus 173, you back these White Sox. There's no Lee Nose in the house. No Lee Nose in the house. Steve Cordero on the Tigers team total over. Chris Garza says, are we on the Tampa Bucks? I mean, that's the only way I could look. But with them dealing with this flu, Chris, and watching Mike Evans just get annihilated by Witherspoon, I guess due to the sickness, I don't want anything to do with this stuff. I don't want anything to do with it. Royals, White Sox. White Sox are hitting 248, 698 OPS versus righties. Jorge Lopez is coming off a nice start. And remember what he did last year late in the season. Did he throw a no-hitter? It was 1 out away from a no-hitter. Royals going for their season best 4 straight win. And Russell Gordy says Giolito trained his left months ago. Yeah, I agree. Buzzo TV liking the White Sox over. I think these 2 pitchers could look good in this opportunity here for both. I think Jorge Lopez coming off a nice start could be good. This total opened up at 8.5 juice to the over. It's now juice to the under. Let's see what we get first 5 here. First 5, we're getting a 5. And bookmakers already moved it down to 4.5. Pinnacle opened this at 4.5, interestingly enough. Wow, and moved it up to 5. But this under 5's been getting hammered. In the last hour and a half, it's been moved 10 cents to that under. Let's take a look at what the weather is here. 8 miles per hour in morning game. I'm expecting Jorge to have a nice start. Longest start of his career Friday in Miami. Longest start of his career. Why did I think he had that big, almost a no-hitter in last year? Okay, maybe I'm off on that. Teams have split the 18 games. 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, no walks. Lopez struck out 23 batters in 16 career outings against these White Sox. 2 starts. I have interest in the under. Guru Sportsbet says 6 guys with over 1,000 OPS against Boyd. That's no good. You know, I liked his last start against these Yankees. And he's one of those guys that, with the Yankees having not a ton to play for right now, I know they still need to win first overall. I like him. He gave up 1 run in 6 1/3 with a no decision. I know he's a 5.57 ERA in 4 career outings, but his last start was very good, Guru, against them. And so, but I mean, I hear what you're saying. If you're talking about his career against the Yankees, Sure, his numbers aren't good. That last start was very impressive, and this is the type of situation I think he's capable of stepping up. And MLB says last start, Boyd struck those clowns out. I'm going to jump on this under 5 in this game. I think Jorge has an okay start. And I'm going to let's see what I'm getting here. First half, totals. Here's my first play on the board. Under 5 at minus 120. Can I get better than that anywhere? I can't. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take this first 5, under 5 in Royals, White Sox. First 5, under 5 at minus 120. All right, that's my first play on the board. Let's keep rolling along. We have Cardinals, Rockies. We have Tim Melville. Tim Melville got me again right in the old goat hole last start. Here's a guy who was working at a barbecue restaurant in the offseason, 29 years old, signs with the Long Island Ducks of the Atlantic League. Now he's in the majors and pitching well. He's 2-1 with 3.66 ERA in 4 starts. Faced the Cardinals once in his career, 2016. Who cares about that? Who cares about that start in 2016? He's pitching well right now. Michaelis turns it on and off, not being nearly as good as he was last year. Rockies won the first 2 games of the series 2-1. Do you trust this Cardinals offense at all? I don't know how you could trust this Cardinals offense at all. Let's take a quick look at what we're dealing with market-wise right here. AM says Jimmy loves these first 5 unders. And Russell Gordy says that 5 is there for a reason, first 5. I hear you. It's there for a reason. I know that Bookmaker is a pretty sharp book. They've already dropped it down to 4.5. That 5 under is being smashed for 10 cents in the last hour and a half. All right, let's see what's going on here. This total in the Rockies game opened at 7.5. Oh, that's first half. Thank you. I was like, what the hell's going on here in Colorado? That total opened at 13 is now at 12.5 across the board. Michaelis opens up at minus 155. They're now at minus 164. Viper MB says, I've never bet any games at Coors. Steve Cordero with Matt Randall on that Cubs money line. Let's take a look at what these lineups are in the card spot right now. Here we go. We don't have the lineups. Let me go click on this again. Can click on this again. Oh, we have a cards lineup. Also for the Royals, White Sox lineup, you see some very weak batters in there on this travel day. Merrifield, Soler, Dozier, O'Hearn, McBroom, Phillips, Valoria, Maya, and Lopez. For the White Sox, Moncada, Anderson, Abreu, Jimenez, McCann, Paca, Sanchez, Zach Collins, and Adam Engel. I like the spot, man. I like that first 5 under quite a bit. Pigeon Depot says, what did the over-under start $4? My book is at 69. Let's see. We'll see what Pinnacle opened that total up at. Pinnacle opened up that total at 50.5, and it's now at 49.5 at Pinnacle. Colorado, St. Louis, I don't really want to touch anybody or anything there. There's my guy, Predictions Guy in the house. Thank you so much for joining us. Michaelis, winless in 2 September starts. And, oh, wow, Matt Randall talking about Luzardo, bringing him into the rotation. Yeah, man, impressive stuff. The Commodores, his last game, Melville labored. He was really working hard. You know, I'm just not getting value fading him. I'm not going to take a Cardinals team that's not batting. That's not hitting. Michaelis, 2 September starts, struck out 12, 3.27 ERA in 11 innings. Looking for his first win against Colorado. 3 starts, faced him 5 times, 6.05 ERA in those appearances. Gerald Martinez says, Jimmy, it's fade Melville day. You know, I get it. And I just did it, and I lost doing it. And maybe it's just that recency bias that's keeping me off of it. But I do not trust the St. Louis bats, and I do not want to take a road favorite whose bats I don't trust. In any situation, I just don't want to do that. Guru says, okay, my stats are right. Yeah, your stats are right, Guru. Yeah, 5.47 ERA. I'm just talking about last start. All right, Cubs, Padres, Yu Darvish to Nelson Lamet. This is a spot where the Cubs just have to step up, and the Cubs do show heart on enough occasions that I think they're going to show heart right here. This is Matt Randall's taint. Play the day, and I'm going to ride with him, but I'm going to take it on the -1 line here. So I'm going to take the Cubs and Yu Darvish on this -1 line. Let's just make sure that we got the kind of lineup that we can support and back, and we will not know what the lineup is. I'm going to stop refreshing it. We will not know what that lineup is. But I'm going to back the Cubs here on the -1 line right now. This is my second play on the card, rolling with Matt Randall here. Cubs -1. Money line. Let's see what I'm dealing with here with the Cubs. Matt Randall says, go, Cubs, go. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with for the Cubs. I'm getting a -137 at U-Wager. Money line, -137. And then I'm getting a -1.5. I believe I saw a +120. We'll take a look and see exactly what we are dealing with here. Here we go with the Cubbies. And we're getting a plus 120. That's available both at Heritage and 5 dimes. So I'm going to lock that in right now. There we go. Cubbies on the -1 line. All right. And Eric Nisbet all over the Bucks at plus 7.5 and under 51. Let's see. I like that spot. Bled W says, Cardinals killed me last 2 days, but I believe they can score more runs today. Sure, more runs, for sure. There is our guy, Drew, from the SBR forum. Says, can't wait for MLB today and NFL tonight. Let's keep rolling along. Pirates, Giants. We have Joe Musgrove versus the Sharks. Marja, 73 Fahrenheit, clear, 4 miles per hour, out to center. I guess I didn't explain enough why I'm on the Cubs. I probably should give you a little more. I do like Darvish. Allowed 1 run over 13 innings in his past 2 starts. 2.69 ERA, 10 starts since the All-Star break. And it's imperative that he steps up right here. That's about enough of that. And there's SBR Forum giving the link to the $50,000 Pick 6 contest. Remember, not too late to join right now. You're still eligible for all of the prizes moving forward and the full prizes. Let's keep rolling along. Buzzo TV, $100 on Yankees and the over. Cash money, low baggers. Don't sleep. Don't sleep. All right. Pirates, Giants, Musgrove, Shamarja, 73 Fahrenheit, clear, 4 miles per hour, out to center. We have a Pirates squad, 33-41 on the road, but a Giants squad that has not been winning at home, 31-40 at home. Pirates hitting 274, 778 OPS versus righties. The righties they're going to look at, Jeff Smart is having a good year, 10-11, 3.64 ERA, 1.10 whip. Giants are hitting 235, 695 OPS versus righties. They're going to get a look at Musgrove. Now, if you are going to back these Pittsburgh Pirates, there's talk that Musgrove may not be good to go today. So if he's not good to go, then Alex McRae is going to come in. So basically, if you're going to bet the Pirates, wait to know that Musgrove is in. And if you're going to bet the Giants, bet it now and make it action. So if Alex McRae with an 8.41 ERA does get the call, a 26-year-old journeyman, then you can make a move here. You can take this spot with the Giants. I mean, because let's see what the market move is right now. We have Samardzija. Let's go money lines and totals here. If we have Samardzija, there's my guy Joe Anisi in the house. If you're getting Samardzija at -119, that's going to go up to -165 if the pitching change happens. So Matt Randall says, I will have an update on Briggs for the afternoon show. Just want a little more time before we get our hopes up. But things are looking good though. Again, thank you all. Oh, man, that makes us so happy, man. That just makes us so happy, Maddie. Love hearing that. Ian Jackson giving us his college football locks. He's on UCF. That's the only game I'm already on right now. But we did do the Pick 6 show. You guys should take a look at the Pick 6 show. We did that last night with DJ Big Boss and Big Ragu. And I'm going to add plays from our breakdown. I jumped on Sportscake right after, so I didn't make any of the bets that we talked about making. But they will be made at some point. Okay, let's keep going. Pirates, Giants. I need to know what's going on with Musgrove before I do anything. Samardzija's always been good against the Pirates, but Samardzija's also been doing good start, bad start, good start, and he's just coming off a pretty nice start against the Dodgers, and that was in the wake of him just getting blown out by the Padres. I don't trust anybody here. Steve Cordero says Giants all day, especially first 5. I get it. I'm going to have to see what... Oh, there's Nutflush. Says, if Musgrove doesn't go, I'm going to put a good-sized bet on the over. There's from Nutflush Allen. And this game will be on before our late show, so we won't be able to talk about it. Then we have Game 2, the Yankees-Tigers. Sabathia versus Turnbull. Sabathia is probably going to go short. I don't know exactly what move to make here. And I'm going to see how the first game goes before I give this like a legitimate cap here. Turnbull hasn't won a decision since May 31st. Dropped last 10 decisions with 4 no decisions. He allowed 19 runs and 14 and a third over his last 4 starts. I mean, what I'd like to see happen is if the Tigers pull the upset game 1, then maybe this is just an over screaming at us, actually. Maybe this is just an over screaming at us. But we don't have a line here right now, so... Oh, yes, we do. Sorry. Sabathia, Turnbull. Here we go. I'd be interested in this over. The wind is going to change for the late game. I'm going to wait and see. There's Ian Cameron in our chat, ready to get to work. Stat Guap says, Jimmy, can I ask you something, please? Of course. Stat Guap thinking under 5 innings in the Yankees game. Cap 24/7 is on the over. Russell Gordy says, CC at -300. Vegas playing with y'all. Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. I'm not going to back CC at -300 ever. Those are your afternoon baseball games right there. Going over the whole card of the afternoon games. I'm only on 2 spots, I believe, right now. Let me go over it again. Here we go. I'm on the Royals, White Sox first 5, under 5 at -120. and I'm tailing the Taint play today with the Cubs, so I'm taking on the -1 line. And that's my only action on this afternoon slate. Let's bring in our guy representing Steeltown, Hamilton, Ontario. Let's bring in Bono. Bono leading the way in the Pick 6 contest of the guys that I shoot videos with. He is leading the way. He's the only guy over 500 after week 1, which is nice work. Bono, great seeing you on this Thursday morning. How are you doing this morning?
I had no idea that was the case, Jimmy, but thank you for letting me know that. Good to know. Great to be with you. And obviously, the Jets, Sam Darnold was the big news that we were all talking about in our low bag chat on Twitter right before the show started, that he's out. Le'Veon Bell may not even play. All this talk about mono, Jimmy. I'm a Canadian. You're a Canadian. I don't know if you remember this commercial, a mono sealant. They had this old commercial from the 90s, this mono sealant product. Mono, get the mono, get the mono. Well, Sam Darnold's got the mono now.
He does. You won't believe it, Bono. This morning, I locked in the Browns -2.5 in the contest. I also locked in my 2-unit play, the over 51 in Falcons, Eagles, and I hadn't bet them yet. And then about half an hour later, the Darnold news comes out and everything's off the board. So I'm pretty upset about my laziness getting in the way. StatQuap says, Jimmy, what do you think of the first 5 innings under? And that would be in the morning game. I'll ask our guy Bono about this. What do you think about Game 1, Yankees, Tigers, Hap, Boyd? What is your expectation of Hap moving forward? Because he seems to have got his shit together after a very bad season. 2 very nice starts. And that A start 2 ago, we know what the A's do with lefties. Also, I like Boyd's last start against the Yankees. I think he could step up in this situation. In saying that, I don't know if I can trust the first half under. Let's see what it's at. It's at first half under's at 5.5 here. What do you think about the first half under, or what do you think about this Game 1 Yankees Tigers game in general?
Yeah, the doubleheaders of these day-night doubleheaders in baseball for me are tricky, especially going into the first game. Sometimes in the second game, I'm going to look at a situation where, based on what happened in the first game, I'm going to look at maybe a bet that gives me a decent advantage, a decent edge. You know, this game, you would think the J. Happ has pitched better. There's no question. Current form-wise, you like to have pitchers like this late in the season where their current form's better, even though their statistics for the full season aren't so good. Sometimes those are the guys that are undervalued. Of course, he's pitching for the Yankees, so I don't know if he's undervalued. Talking about a -235 favorite here, but he has pitched better. Boyd, a lefty. I always like Boyd, Jimmy, in Detroit. You know, I'm not big on backing Boyd on the road. I don't trust him as much there, but he's put together some decent outings at times, decent starts together at Comerica Park. And you look at his career numbers, he's been better at home than he's been on the road. So I think first 5 under would be a lean for me in this game. Just because, the Yankees pen's decent. I don't trust the Detroit pen, though. The Detroit pen can be absolutely disastrous at times. So take that part of the equation out of it. Maybe first 5 under. I would lean that way, though.
You would lean that way. Okay, nice look. Nice look. And then Mally Mal saying Turnbull forever fadeable. StatQuap going to make the move under first 5 in the Yanks game. Russell Gordy says Hap is a gas can like Miley was for Houston. Don Corleone says, Ski, please tell me you had Sky yesterday. Yes, Ski came on the show and got us all on the Chicago Sky, and they won very, very easily. Thank you for that, Ski. Okay, Ian, what are you looking at on these early games? Is there anything that's jumping out at you? Is there any moves you're going to make?
In terms of the early games, don't the Cardinals have to beat Colorado at some point? Like, Colorado had absolutely nothing going on, playing terrible, lethargic baseball, playing like a team that's, had higher expectations, isn't going to meet those expectations, and probably can't wait for the season to end. That's what it would have looked like for the Colorado Rockies. Now, all of a sudden, they've won 2 in a row against this what was a red-hot St. Louis Cardinals team that's essentially been running away with the NL Central for the past several weeks. So it's been kind of surprising to me to see that. Michaelis on the road, yeah, we always have a little difficulty trusting him there, but I like this kind of situation here for St. Louis. You've lost 2 in a row against Colorado. I know you're in control right now. Melville's not a guy I have a whole ton of upside or belief or faith or confidence in pitching in this game, in this spot for the Rockies. Obviously, I laid a little bit on the money line and a little bit on the run line for St. Louis in this game. I split it up half and half. I didn't want to put the entire bet on the money line at a price north of -160 like this, but I love the spot for St. Louis. I think this is a game where they wake up and get a game against the Rockies this afternoon.
It makes sense that they would, but Do you trust these Cardinal bats right now, like to take a road favorite? How would you take them on the -1 line? How would you get that number down?
Yeah, I would. That's what I did. I split it up because it was right on the fringe of my cutoff point usually is -150, and it opened at that number. It was just a little bit higher when I bet the Cardinals on the money line. So at that point, I said, all right, I'll take a little. What I'll do is I'll go half on the money line, half on the run line, -1.5. You're right. The bats, like Chichi Gonzalez, shut the Cardinals down, a couple of nights ago. That's a concern. That's definitely something in the back of my mind that says, hey, where's the St. Louis offense gone these last couple of games against the Rockies? But I'm going to put some faith in them to bounce back today. I think the focus will be there for this St. Louis team. Maybe they're coming into those last couple of games. It took Colorado, a team that's down in the dumps, downtrodden, struggling, reeling, playing bad baseball. Took them for granted a little bit. I don't think they will today. So I like the spot for St. Louis, and I think we'll get something from their offense today.
Makes sense. It makes sense. I just find them extremely difficult to trust as a favorite right now on the road, and I'm not going to. Is there anything else that's getting your attention?
I'm tempted by San Diego because I don't like what I'm seeing from the Cubs right now. It's a Cubs team that's, I don't want to say they're feeling the pressure, but they look like they're feeling the pressure just a little bit of trying to hang on to one of these 2 NL wildcard spots. And Darvish has pitched, probably a little bit better lately, but I'm telling you, I don't trust him as a -140 road favorite. That's for sure. Now, I'll tell you what about the Padres. You're at least seeing, here's one of those teams that's out of the mix. That's still playing hard. That's still giving you a pretty decent effort most games. I don't love Lamet here, but I would probably lean a little bit to San Diego. I just don't think the Cubs' current form. I don't think Darvish as a pitcher right now is a guy I want to trust as a -140 road favorite. Pressure's a bitch. The Cubs are feeling that pressure right now, and they're not necessarily responding to it all that well at the moment.
Yeah, I'm glad Square says don't do St. Louis, Jimmy. Yeah, don't worry. I'm not going to hammer the Cardinals, but I get the look. Like they were rolling. I am going to take the Cubs. I'm on the Cubs on the -1 line. I'm rolling with Matt Randall. I love the way Darvish has pitched, and I still think this Cubs team has a lot of heart, and we'll show something here this evening. And what about on this late card? We haven't talked about them. We're going to talk about these games on the late card. On our late show. But is there anything that's jumping out at you on the late card? We start with. Sorry, let me get over to it. We start with Red Sox, Blue Jays. I was on the over 10.5 yesterday. Very disappointing. Red Sox, Blue Jays. Then we have Braves, Phillies, Dodgers, Orioles, Nats, Twins. I'd really love to hear what you think about this Patrick Corbin, Kyle Gibson spot. We don't like the Twins at home against the lefty. I understand that that's probably a spot where we should back them, but Kyle Gibson coming off the IL, he looked terrible before he was moved to the IL. There's been a 6-cent move at Pinnacle towards Patrick Corbin and the Nats. Then we have Rays, Rangers, A's, Astros, and we finished up with Reds, Marlins. Is there anything you're looking at on the late slate?
I like Toronto again. You talk about teams that are playing lethargic baseball. Boston. I mean, they've played awful in this series so far against the Blue Jays. There's no life. You look at Alex Cora. He looks like he's staring into space in the dugout. He doesn't look like he wants to be there or managing this team for the last 2-3 weeks of a season going nowhere. You look at the faces on the players, same damn thing. You're going to lay $150 with Jhoulys Chacin? Not me. Now, I know he pitched good in his first outing with Boston. I get it, but I think that's a flash in the pan. Before that, let's not forget, early in the season, he was a disaster. He was an absolute gas can. This is just a team that's bringing you some fire, bringing you some passion to the ballpark against a team that's not right now. And the team that's not is laying -150. So I like Toronto there. Buchholz, he's a little sketchy, but I'll trust him here a little bit, and it'll be fired up, I think, facing his former team. The Washington-Minnesota total going down, I think, kind of surprises me. And now that it's 9 shaded to the over, but flat 9 across the board, I'm kind of interested in this game over the total. You mentioned it about the Twins against lefties. They just hit left-handed pitching. They have all season long. They're a very tough lineup for left-handed pitching to shut down. That's been evident throughout the course of the season. You mentioned the struggles of Kyle Gibson before he went on the injured list. He was not a guy that was shutting down opposing hitters. He's not a guy I trust to shut down opposing hitters coming off that IL stint. So with that total dropping a full run, I'm going to buck that move and go up and over 9.
Interesting look. I can completely understand it, not being afraid to go against the market move. I went against the market move yesterday for the first time in months, and I mean months, with backing the Brewers against the Marlins and felt good about that spot. Well, there you have the MLB card. We're going to hammer all the late games on the Late Show, but great stuff from our guy, Bono. Okay, let's move on to the big Thursday nighter in the National Football League. This is a tough spot, man. I mean, this is too many points for a divisional game in week 2, but I don't want to back the Buccaneers after the story about the flu going through the team and how bad they looked week 1 against the 49ers, then have 3 or 4 days to regroup. That makes me want to have nothing to do with them. And the total, I don't really want to have anything to do with either. I can understand the move to the under, but 49.5 with these two teams and with this Buccaneers defense and with Winston's penchant for throwing pick sixes, this makes me so uncomfortable. I have no move on this Thursday night football game. Do you, Babano?
Maybe this is me just saying it's a Thursday night game. I want to get involved in some way. But now that the number's pushed up to 7, I put half a unit on Tampa. I did. I'll be on the Bucs here for a little bit. Look, I saw, as someone that had a loser with Carolina last week, obviously I was focusing in on that Rams-Panthers game. That final score, we'll say 30-27 Rams, was anything but a 30-27 game. The Rams were the better team, period. End of story. Start to finish, the Rams were the better football team. I thought Carolina was horrible. Okay, they scored 3 touchdowns, but let's look at the scenario and the game flow at the time each of those touchdowns were scored. The first touchdown came with Carolina down big, down double digits. I think the Rams got a little complacent maybe on that drive, exhaled a little bit, and Carolina took advantage. The second Carolina touchdown was a 10-yard drive after they blocked a punt. They didn't move the ball up and down the field. It was a 10-yard drive. They got a gift because of a blocked punt. The third touchdown came in garbage time, essentially. Carolina was down 2 possessions in the final 2 minutes. Rams played prevent defense, and there you go. Bing, bang, boom. Carolina gets it into the end zone, making a 30-27 score look flattering, in my opinion, to this Carolina team. I didn't like what I saw. They couldn't stop the run. There was no pass rush on Jared Goff. Where the hell was Gerald McCoy? Where was Kayvon Short? Where the hell were these pass rushers for Carolina on Sunday? Couldn't find them with the telescope on the damn football field. Their offensive line was offensive in the bad sense of the word. Under pressure most of the game, Cam Newton, sacked multiple times. I didn't see anything on either side of the football in a positive light from the Carolina Panthers to trust them right now, laying a full touchdown in this game. Now, I know Tampa Bay's got issues. They sure as hell do, losing 31-17 to San Fran. I get it, but they outgained the 49ers. 295 to 256. I didn't think they played as bad as that final score indicates. Aside from 2 brutal, and I mean brutal, pick sixes by Jameis Winston, and they were brutal, and I fully get this bet is done. It is toast if we get 2 pick sixes from Jameis Winston in this game tonight like we saw on Sunday. But I saw a Bucs defense that I thought was going to be pretty bad. They actually played pretty solid against San Francisco, held them to under 100 yards rushing. As well in that game. Bottom line is I came away from last week's games a little bit much more impressed with Tampa than what I saw out of Carolina. I wasn't going to get involved in this game at all early in the week. It's 7 now. I'll take a little shot here on this Bucs team and hope that now Arians can – it's a short week. You're going on the road, but hope Arians can coach up some of these dummy mistakes that Jameis Winston continues to make. Maybe he's just going to keep making them, but – this is now or never time for Jameis Winston. If this coach and this offensive staff can't pull Jameis Winston's shit together, nobody will. But long story short, I'll be on the Bucs here +7 for half unit. Small play, but enough to bet the Bucs to me.
That's the only move I would make, or I guess maybe I'd take the Bucs in the under. But I think I am going to roll with DX Filer and Pigeon Depot on this Ronald Jones prop over 38.5 yards. I'm not going to take it just yet. I'm going to study it a little more in the afternoon, but I think that's that's my favorite prop so far that I've heard is the Ronald Jones over 38.5 yards. There's Red Girl in the house says, good morning, everyone. I'm super late. I hope you had a wonderful birthday yesterday, Red Girl. And man, did it anger me that I didn't give you a winner with that Boston-Toronto over 10.5. It was 8 runs after first 5, and I was like, oh, good. I'm going to help Red Girl. Man, that hurt. But much love to you, Red Girl. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful birthday. Well, then, I know we need to talk college football, and we're going to have Teddy Covers joining us shortly, but I need to hear what you think about this Red Blacks Lions spot in the CFL. The CFL record is back, getting closer to plus units. Can you pop it up there, Rafa? Thank you. Got God, still just a little over a unit down. I had a bad run there, but cleaned it up with the Lions and the Argos last week. I liked the way the Lions looked against the Alouettes, but should the Lions be, I know they opened at 6.5-point favorites, now they're 5.5-point favorites. Should Lions be 5.5-point favorites against anybody, Babano?
This game gives me a headache, Jimmy. It really does. This game I want, nope, this is your stay the hell away from it football game for me. I think of all three, NFL, college football, CFL, there's no game that I saw on the schedule in all three where immediately when I saw the game, I'm like, X, cross it out, move on to the next one. This is that game, Ottawa, BC. How can you lay any points with a one-win BC team? How can you lay any points with a BC team that hasn't won a home game this season? That's what you've got to do here in this game. Here's the problem, though, with the Ottawa side. This is a runaway freight train falling off a cliff right now. All right? They didn't just get beat at home by a one-win Toronto Argonaut team on Saturday. They got embarrassed. They got humiliated. That looked like a team that quit in that game. Quit. And when I utter the Q word, that's a team I'm not backing the following week. And that's what I saw from the Ottawa Red Blacks. And you got Jonathan Jennings as your quarterback. Case closed. There is no way in hell I trust that guy to move the football. He hasn't done it all season long. In fact, he's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns for this Ottawa Red Blacks team. Rick Campbell has no answers at the quarterback spot. Davis has either been not good or injured. And Jennings has been no good at all when he's been in there, but he's got to throw him in there because he's got no other options. This is a game that is an impossible handicap for me, Jimmy. Good luck on you if you get involved. I want no part of it.
Yeah, I don't want any part of it for any part of the total either. I completely agree with you. I didn't understand I was shocked when the line came out, and I didn't know how to handle it. So I like you backing that. First off, when we get into college football, we don't have a lot of time for it, but Bono, I want to thank you for that Monroe, Florida State over. I tailed and cashed, and it was one of my few cashes last week, so thank you very much for that. My NCAA football record going in the dumpster after that last week. There it is, very ugly. But Bono, what's your favorite look or two on this college football card?
Well, you mentioned Florida State, Monroe over the total, and I'll be honest, totals have been where it's at for me. Totals have been phenomenal so far for me in college football. Sides, not so much. So maybe that's why it's a little more totals heavy card for me this week. But, we're sticking with this Florida State over thing until it stops cashing at this point. Now, you're playing a good Virginia defense on Saturday, a very good Virginia defense. There's no question. But to me, Florida State's got big-time problems on the defensive side of the football. When you're giving up 400, 500 yards to Monroe, on your home field and 44 points, you got issues. And I've not liked this defense from day one. And the problem is their offense goes at this rapid-fire tempo under Kendall Briles' first-year OC that the defense gets very little opportunity to, catch their breath, exhale, grab a drink of water, and get back out there. And it's a defense that's really suffering because of it. I don't think the personnel on defense for this Florida State team's as good to begin with, but factor that in with a defense that gets tired in these games because the offense plays at a fast tempo. It's a bad combination, and it's a big part of why Florida State's been giving up points in bunches. I think Bryce Perkins, Jimmy, and this Virginia offense, they were pedestrian against Pitt, but I think Pitt's defense is pretty solid. They have been the last couple of years under Narduzzi there. But I think Virginia's offense will do damage against Florida State's defense. Florida State gave up, a ton of points, ton of yards to Hank Bachmeier in his first ever collegiate start on the road as a freshman quarterback. And let's not forget Boise State the following week against Marshall at home. They were struggling to move the ball, struggling to put up points in that football game. So that even shines a bigger light on Florida State's defensive shortcomings right now. I think Virginia will move the ball with ease. I played the side and the total. I actually got a flat 7 on Virginia. I laid the points. I think they're just much better with Florida State. Florida State has the feel of UCLA to me and Tennessee and these teams that are just careening off a cliff right now. I don't know if there's any way back for Chip Kelly at UCLA or Jeremy Pruitt at Tennessee or Willie Taggart at Florida State. And when these teams are just crashing down and burning like these teams are, I don't want to back them. I think Virginia has a chance to roll in this game. Give me the Cavaliers minus the touchdown, 7.5 now, and I like the over. It's moved up a little bit, but still think we'll see points.
Oh, I think that's a great breakdown and a great look. I love it. Bigger Goose saying, Ian preaching right now. Ian Jackson saying, I agree with you, Ian. I'm on Virginia this week as well. Yeah, I love that breakdown and love that look. And you've been nailing everything that's been going on with this Florida State team. I love it. Is there anything else you're looking at before we head over to our guy, Teddy Covers?
Yeah, quickly on college football, throw out a couple that I'm interested. I'm interested in Air Force as this number's creeping up. It's 4.5, 5. I think Air Force is undervalued. They bring back a lot of experience. Triple option. Colorado's got to prepare for that, and they've got to prepare for that after a couple of absolutely huge games on their schedule. When you think of the fact that they played Colorado State in that rivalry game, they played Nebraska last week, came back from the dead essentially to win that game in overtime. Huge games in a row for Colorado. Now you've got to lay points against an Air Force team that's disciplined, that a triple option that you're going to have to prepare for on the fly, and an Air Force team that over the years under Calhoun, this coach, you get him in the underdog role, catching points, especially when he has good teams. And I think this is one of his better Air Force teams in the last few years. That's an interesting spot for me. It's a play. It's that if you love betting against or betting bad spots, it's a bad spot for Colorado. And I think Air Force can play this season. So I kind of like Air Force there. I may give East Carolina a look against Navy. I'm not sold Navy laying more than a touchdown. East Carolina had a stinker against NC State. I was wrong on that. But I'm not ready to throw this team completely away yet in the garbage after one bad game. I think they have a chance to rebound there, so I'm kind of liking East Carolina in that game. The total's been steamed with Colorado State, Arkansas. It's 57.5 up to 64 now, but I've got the over in that game. I think Arkansas will benefit from the quarterback change. We've seen enough of Ben Hicks now, Jimmy, at SMU and so far here at Arkansas. The guy is not a great quarterback. He's just not. There's nothing else to it. And I think Chad Morris is making the right call here, going to Nick Starkel as the starting quarterback in this game. I think that'll be an upgrade. I don't trust the Colorado State defense one bit. Let's not forget Colorado hung 50 points on this team the first game of the season. I think Arkansas will move the ball at will. I think Colorado State will put up some points, though. Colin Hill, finally healthy. Yeah, I thought he played pretty well against Colorado. Now, last week they played FCS team, so it's not a great gauge, but great indicator. But I think Colin Hill gives them a puncher's chance to be a pretty decent, at least, maybe even good offense this year for Mike Bobo with this Colorado State team. So this total's been hammered up, but I completely agree with it.
Oh, that's great stuff from our guy, Babano, like in Virginia, and the over. Interested in Air Force, East Carolina, Arkansas, Colorado State, over. Great stuff, Babano. Thank you so much for joining us. Where can we find you on Twitter, and tell us a little bit about your big Saturday show?
Twitter at Bobano is where you can find me. Every single day I'm on there tweeting. The halftime picks have been great. We've been killing it with halftime bets, second half wagers. So hopefully we'll have some more good success with those in NFL and college football this weekend. And of course, Saturday mornings, I can't wait for it. It's a fun show to do. 11 a.m. Eastern time, 1 hour before all the college football games kick off, right here on the SBR YouTube channel. Join me, Drew Martin, DJ Big Boss, Big Ragu. We break down the college football slate on the Closing Line show. Don't you dare miss it every Saturday morning.
There he is. Eric Nisbet says respect. Great job, Ian. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great afternoon and enjoy Thursday Night Football, my man.
All right, Jimmy. Take care. Have a good one, and good luck to everybody watching.
There he is, Babano. What a great group of cappers we've got in the chat and guesting on this show. We go right from Babano to Teddy Covers representing Las Vegas, Nevada. Teddy Covers, how are you doing on this Thursday morning?
I'm doing great, man. We got football tonight. You're waiting all week. When's there going to be football? 2 days in a row we didn't have it, Tuesday and Wednesday. So I'm feeling good on a Thursday, man. How about you?
I'm feeling great, but this Thursday nighter makes me extremely uncomfortable, and I don't have a man. How about the Browns move that you talked about as soon as the week was over last week after their serving of humble pie, and then I make the bet on the pick six. I lock in the Browns this morning at -2.5, but don't bet it. Don't make an official play. Think, oh, don't worry. I'm making an official play on the show, then I'll bet it right after. Sure enough, Darno has mono, and I don't have the bet in, and it's not an official play, and I get screwed over. But whatever. I have it in the Pick Six contest. Interesting stuff there. But how are you handling this Thursday nighter? Because it makes me extremely uncomfortable. Even the under makes me uncomfortable. Although I get, if I was given a free play, sure, I'd be on the Bucks +7 and the under. But if I'm taking my money out of my pocket, I don't think I want anything to do with this Thursday nighter, and I don't plan to make any moves at this point. Although I do love a couple of our guys. A couple of our guys are on the over, depending on where you shop, 37 and a half, 38. Jones over rush yards. I do think that's a nice spot. Pigeon Depot on it, DX Filer on that. Jones over rush yards tonight. But other than that, nothing appeals to me. Is there a move you're making on the Thursday nighter?
Yeah, I put a +7 in my pocket. And I put a +7 in my pocket with Tampa for a couple of reasons. But it starts with two misleading final scores from last week. And when we're talking about betting week 2 of the NFL, the number one thing I'm trying to do is take advantage of overreactions from week 1. So what happened in week 1? Well, the final score said 49ers 31, Bucs 17. If you watch the game, you watch Tampa's defense dominate the line of scrimmage. You watch Tampa run the football all afternoon. You watch Tampa shut down Jimmy Garoppolo, and then you watch Jameis Winston make a bunch of mistakes. So there was a lot more good than bad for Tampa. The quarterback made mistakes, but the defense played well. They ran the football. The secondary played well. These were 3 issues coming into the season. You were like, maybe not so much. Carolina's final score, 30-27. They gave the Rams everything they could handle. No, they didn't. If you watch the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. LA did whatever they wanted. Carolina had nothing defensively. The offense was all dink and dunk. Cam Newton couldn't complete a pass longer than 17 yards. Career low, -2 rushing yards. Defense it's not a team I'm excited about laying a touchdown with. So I think Tampa is better than their week 1 final score would indicate, and Carolina is worse than their week 1 final score would indicate. And it's just that simple. I'm catching 7 in a game I should be catching 4 in. I'll take the 7.
You know, that breakdown makes a ton of sense. I mean, I'm pretty much sold after that breakdown. I still have the discomfort backing Winston in any situation, and that might keep me off. But that's a very, very sharp, strong breakdown that makes a ton of sense. All right, there's our Thursday nighter. We have our guys. So, basically, Bono and Teddy Covers, reading on the same literature right now, making the same angles, finding the same angles. But the way Teddy put it, I mean, almost makes me want to go to the window right now and make a bet on the Buccaneers. I'm going to hold off at this point about making anything because I just don't trust Winston at all. But great breakdown, Teddy. Are you doing anything on this MLB afternoon baseball card?
I didn't even, to be honest, there are days, at this time of the year, there are days where I'm going to be able to focus on baseball. There are days I'm not. Today was a day where I was working on NFL and college football, and I haven't even looked at the MLB card. So it just, unfortunately that happens. But for me, baseball takes a backseat to football at this time of year, and it's just how it is. So I do not have strong opinions on today's MLB card. In fact, I haven't put a whole lot of time into it.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Eric Nisbet, loving that analysis from you, Teddy. Headshot says 49ers had a ton of mental errors. I wouldn't bank on Tampa. Says also remember that was 49ers' first game with their healthy team together. Carolina defense isn't much worse than the Niners. Dom Ricci took the over in the pick 6 contest. Gas Station Sushi's max betting the over in Rams Saints. Wow, that's an interesting look. I'm going to copy and paste that right now. That's an interesting look. As you said, you were looking at NFL. It is getting time where we should start really focusing on NCAA football because, the games are coming up so soon. But I jumped on, I made my 2-unit play, Falcons-Eagles over 51. I jumped on that. I'm on the Browns -2.5. I'm on UCF -7.5. Those are my only looks right now on the card or in the contest. Do you have any other looks that you're going to jump on in NFL?
Well, I played 2 or 3 for what it's worth. I have the Browns at 2.5, and I also have Central Florida -7.5 against Stanford. So I'm with you on that. I didn't touch the total on Sunday Night Football, although I wouldn't talk you out of that over. I certainly wouldn't. Again, last year, if you remember, Eagles and the Falcons, week 1. Was that a 16? I think it was 16-12 with the final score. I can't remember 16-12 or 18-12. Neither team could move the football. And Philly's defense really did a number on Matt Ryan and company. And then Atlanta went back home, and each of the next 3 weeks, 38, 35, 41, they had no problems. So the question is, was it week 1 where the Falcons offense just doesn't work? They take a little bit longer to come out of the gate than some teams, especially when they're on the road, a team with a very strong home field edge. Or is it Philadelphia that can, Atlanta's the offense didn't work last week, and it's the Eagles defense that after they got gashed early by Washington, just shut them down. I mean, what was it, 32-3, that run that the Eagles had in the middle of that ball game where it was as one-sided as it gets. And then they played the prevent defense at the end, allowed the Redskins to score that late touchdown. But, Philly's defense was a dominant unit on that field for about a half in that ball game. Don't know if that's going to work against the Falcons, but again, they did shut this team down last year. But I saw some stuff from Atlanta in the opener I didn't like at all. It's an offensive line that's banged up right now with Lindstrom out, and that's a number one draft choice. Boom, gone. So I worry about the offensive line. And it's a Falcons defense that, they weren't good last year. We said it was injuries. They weren't good the year before. They said, it was circumstances. They weren't good the year before. We said it was talent. Well, now they're healthy, and the talent level's supposed to be there. And once again, last week, Atlanta's defense didn't even come close to getting stops against Minnesota. That concerns me about the Falcons in this one. So from a side, I would only look at Philly, and from a total, I could only look at the over. I don't have to play either one, and I might not. Other looks in the NFL that stand out to me, heck, there's a bunch of – look, as Pittsburgh goes up and up and up, it's 4.5s are popping up. I get more and more interest in the Seattle side in this ball game. The betting markets are looking at the Seahawks box score. All right, Seattle got outgained by 200 yards, almost 200 yards against Cincy last week. And they were lucky to win the game. And, they were +3 in turnovers and didn't cover. And the market's saying, garbage, Seattle's garbage. Look at that, garbage. That's what the Seahawks have done for 10 years under Pete Carroll. It's not about yardage battles. It's about turnover battles, and Seattle wins them. They have a quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over and a defense that forces turnovers. And when you find teams that are going to have a positive turnover margin year in, year out, like the Seahawks, like the Patriots, that are designed to have a positive turnover margin, that are built to have a positive turnover margin, man, those are value teams. So everyone's like, well, Pittsburgh, they just ran against New England, and the Seattle team's no good. I'm not buying any of that. I think the Seahawks are very live against the Steelers on Sunday afternoon.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Corey Simmons saying, I'm in class right now. Can't hear, but reading the closed captions. Corey Simmons says, what's the taint play of the day? The taint play of the day is the Cubs. I like those looks. Melissa Glenn in the chat says, been following Teddy since his very first Sports Bit show. I've learned and grown so much as a handicapper by listening to his wisdom. So thank you. That's coming straight from Melissa Glenn.
Thank you, Melissa.
A lot of this makes a ton of sense. I'm going to make more moves on this NFL card, and will really want to break some games down with you again on tomorrow's show. But right now, let's move over to college football. We've had a couple questions asked of you. First off, Worldwide 1873 says, Teddy, Purdue versus TCU. Any side there? Sinclair might be hurt. And Matt Randall has already told us that he likes the TCU Purdue over. Teddy Covers, how are you handling TCU Purdue? So
I believe that Sindelar is out. No, I'm seeing questionable. I did not read the last report I read was not a positive one. And this is a bet where I want to know if Purdue's quarterback's going to play if I'm going to get involved. It's that simple. I do not want an over, and I do not want Purdue if Sindelar is not in the game. But if he does play, Purdue may be live. The markets like Gary Patterson. They always have. There's been he's a coach who at times has gotten his Horned Frogs team to overachieve. Defensively, TCU looks a good notch or two better than Purdue. But that Boilermakers offense is tricky, man. It is. And Jeff Brom's been designing schemes to beat coaches like Gary Patterson for a long time now, doing it fairly successfully. So it's not a game that I plan on betting on, but I know this much. If I'm going to be on the Boilermakers, I want the quarterback. If the quarterback doesn't play, it's clearly TCU or pass. There's a little bit of correlation between side and total here. TCU they can win a shootout potentially, but that's not what they want to play. I think TCU Purdue correlates with over the most. Purdue's not going to win this game or cover this point spread if they're not getting 4 touchdowns. I think that's the minimum. 24, 27, 28. Purdue's got to get there in order to hang around. Because I think TCU is going to get there. So in my mind, TCU will correlate with under a little bit. Purdue will correlate with over a little bit more.
Makes sense. He also has a question right underneath. He says, also wondering what you think on USC BYU. USC opening up at -4.5, still at 4.5, although Heritage is hanging at 4, as is UWager. This total opened up at 55. It's gone all the way up to 57 at Heritage, 56.5 everywhere else, and 55.5 at Pinnacle. So very important where you're shopping for that total. Teddy, USC Brigham Young.
If I had to play it, I would play the Trojans. I do not have to play it, and I doubt I don't expect to get to the window with this one at all. I don't trust. Let's start with this. I don't trust BYU very much. I don't trust BYU at all. The offense really hasn't worked in 2 games against decent defenses, and certainly a pretty good. Utah's got a good defense. Tennessee's got an okay defense, which was fine until they fell apart with 20 seconds left on the clock. But that's what Tennessee's doing this year. USC could do that too, and it wouldn't shock anyone. The Trojans, we know how poorly coached this team is, and they found a quarterback last week in Slovis who, again, it's one thing to come off the bench and light up a defense, or in your first start at home, lighting up a deep. It's another thing to do it on the road against a quality defense. So I do have my concerns about USC moving the football here. But from a spot standpoint, miracle win for BYU last week. Huge celebration, beat an SEC foe. I don't love the spot for the Cougs, and I don't think the Cougs are any good. So I guess it's Trojans or pass, but I obviously Slovis do it on the road against a solid defense again before I anoint him the second coming at USC for quarterback. I don't know that I trust him in his first road start. I will pass this game.
We'll be passing this game. I enjoyed, if anybody has questions from the chat for Teddy, just hit me with them. But I enjoyed what we did last week. And that was after I was done our live Pick 6 show. And it's every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock with myself and Boss and Ragu, Boss and the Sauce. The next day I asked about some of their looks, and I enjoyed that. I thought that worked. Sure. So why don't we do that again? I'm going to start with Ragu's first action on his card. Arkansas State, Georgia. So Ragu wrote the Arkansas State UNLV game like a script, and we won easily with Arkansas State. And, he likes what he saw from Arkansas State, and he's uncomfortable with this 33.5. But the first half is at 20, and he thinks Georgia's going to run all over Arkansas State in the first half. That's Ragu's first look, is Georgia first half. I'll pull out what the line is right now, but what do you think of that look, Georgia first half at home against Arkansas State?
So I like the concept very much. The concept is a team goes on the road and wipes out a weaker foe, feels good about themselves. Now they're going to go on the road and face a juggernaut, and the next week's not usually so good. To put it mildly. They got their win, and it's what's going to happen in SEC country is going to happen in SEC country. So it's something that makes a ton of sense to me. A team that has success one week on the road in a non-conference affair, you don't always like them on the road the next week doing that same thing, especially when they step up. So I like the concept. I don't tend to get involved in a lot of games like this. It's just my own personal betting style. The 5 touchdown favorites, the 6 touchdown favorites. When I do get involved, I'm more likely to get involved for the first half play. So I have no problem whatsoever with that selection. Not anything I bet, but I know, I'm not going to, no, I don't like that. It's fine. Good luck.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice breakdown. And Jarvis Wilson, I'll be copying and pasting your questions as well. Let's move on to Ragu's second look. It's Wake Forest. He likes Wake Forest. And when he was breaking it down, I was thinking of maybe making the move on Wake Forest first half and full game. Should I pump the brakes in that spot?
So I'd rather have Wake than North Carolina. I'll tell you that flat out. I think the Tar Heels, after that 2-0 start, are a little bit overvalued right now. And, of course, now they're hitting the highway. They played a true road game for the first time, which is definitely a concern for me here. And Wake, we've seen it from Wake 2 weeks in a row. They're explosive on offense. They've got playmakers all over the field. And we're not used to seeing a Demon Deacons program with that level of skill position talent. I think they got it. I lean over in this ball game. The markets got there before I did, unfortunately. And if I had to play it, I would lay with Wake, even against a North Carolina team that's overachieved early on and doesn't look to be way down talent-wise. It's not like Fedora left the cupboard bare for Mac Brown. But the lean is Wake, the lean is over. I haven't bet either one.
I like hearing this. So you're backing Ragu's spots right now. Next spot, we both know, is UCF. We both like that look. He's all over that. And then the final spot, is, and I have a question mark beside it, so maybe I can't remember if I was wondering about it or if he was, so I'd have to go back and check. But is Pitt against Penn State? So it's Pitt and the under. What do you think of that Pitt and the under spot?
I mean, Penn State has one of the strongest home field advantages in college football. And it really shows. It shows year in, year out on that field. Franklin's he's a bully coach. Franklin will run up scores when he gets the opportunity. So I tend not to look to step in front of Penn State at home. I've learned that the hard way. And even last week, a game where they were outplayed for a half by Buffalo. When all said and done, Penn State took a ton of money in that game, but if you bet them early, you still cash your ticket. They won by 32. That's what they're explosive. And that worries me about a Pitt team that isn't explosive on offense. Penn State scores too easy. But again, it's not a game that I bet, so it's not a game I'm going to try to talk you out of. It's just not one that I'm involved with.
All right, and Viper MB says Penn State will wipe the floor with Pitt. Twadi Latte from Pittsburgh says Pitt could get shut out. So that's if Pitt gets shut out or if Pitt gets completely shut down, is the under in play?
Yeah. If Pitt gets shut down or they're shut out, the under is absolutely in play. But again, this isn't one of the stronger correlations. But yeah, it's because Penn State is capable of covering the spread in a higher scoring game. They're capable of getting to 40 plus by themselves. They're also capable of covering the spread in a lower scoring game where Pitt's offense doesn't work very well. So I was thinking there might be some correlation somewhere. I don't think that Pitt's going to be covering the spread in a very high-scoring ball game. There's at least a modest correlation between Pitt and under.
Yes, and that's what Ragu is saying. The low total makes me like Pitt. All right, those are Ragu spots from the Pick Six show. Let's talk about what Big Boss was thinking on the Pick Six show. First was Kansas. Now that they've hit plus 21, I'll have to double check that they're still at 21, plus 21 in the Kansas game. What do you think of that spot?
It is still 21 just about everywhere right now. And my answer to that, I can put in 2 words. Hell no! No, I don't want Kansas. Why? You cannot make money in college football on the very worst teams. There's no way. You go back and look. Go back and look at the teams that finish 4-8 or worse every year and go through all of them. And you'll see. 5-7 ATS. The best go 6-6 ATS. Lots of 4-8s, lots of 3-9s. The bad teams, it's really hard to get the money. Boston College was going to hand the ball off 50 times in this game. They're capable of breaking off a touchdown run on any one of those 50 handoffs. When the backups come in, Boston College is bad. I mean, the one thing that Kansas has none of is quality depth. I mean, none of. So if Miles empties the bench at all, they're in trouble. And BC is going to just, I see BC continuing to score throughout just by handing the football off. So I don't want maybe Kansas defense steps up somehow, makes a couple of plays, but talent-wise, program-wise, Kansas is the worst of all the Power 5 conference schools. I'll take Oregon State over Kansas. I'll take, whatever drag you want to give me. I'll take Rutgers over Kansas. That is a program that is at the very bottom right now, and I'm not looking to back one of the very worst teams in college football, even plus 21. BC or pass.
BC or pass, even at 21. So that's Big Boss's first look. His second look was another spot I was thinking of doubling up on, but I've waited too long, I think, and I'm going to pump the brakes. We said that the number to stop was 18, and it's now at 18 at Heritage and 5 dimes. Another spot where paralysis by overanalysis gives you the worst line, and when do you take it? And I'm talking about the Ohio State Buckeyes here. Ohio State at Indiana. He likes Ohio State he likes Ohio State full game, but when he was breaking it down, I was like, oh, this is a double up spot, and I probably should have made the move. I did not make the move. Ohio State, Indiana. Do you still like Ohio State even at 17?
No, I missed it. But there's a question about the Hoosiers quarterback right now. Penix has a quote undisclosed injury and is questionable this week. So you want to be aware of his status for sure if you're going to get involved on the Indiana side in this ball. I mean, the markets are moving like he's not going to play, like he's hurt. I too was looking at the Ohio State side. I didn't get to the window with it, and I missed the 13.5, and that was a number that made me mad. There was 13.5 out there. There was one. I'm like, I want that. Oh, I didn't get it. And the 14s were gone, and the 15s were gone. And I'm like, all right, I missed it. You're not going to be able to get every bet down that you want to get down. If you're sitting in front of your screen 24/7, if you're watching the SBR odds screen and you're sitting there, and as soon as it pops, you can do it. But if you actually have a life and you're not focused 100% on watching a screen all day long, you're going to miss some numbers. You're going to miss some bets. It's inevitable. It's part of the equation. That game's coming down off the board at a couple of books right now based on Penix's status. So if you can get a bet down on Ohio State right now as we're talking, might not be a bad thing to do. I think this one could come up a notch or two higher still if Penix doesn't play. But again, we don't know. All I saw was undisclosed for the reason for his questionable status for a Saturday. So that's definitely something worth monitoring. A team starting quarterback can be worth something. In some games, not in the Mississippi State game, it's not worth anything. But in the Ohio State-Indiana game, it is worth something.
Interesting. We also had a spot where he was talking about backing Syracuse in this big Clemson-Syracuse spot. And there's also been talk about what move to make on the total. Some people liking this over. And, man, Pinnacle opens this over at 58.5. It's now at 65.5. At what point do you think that the under should be the look? Clemson-Syracuse, boss thinking that Syracuse at plus 28 might be a look. What do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, it might be a look. I wouldn't talk you out of that wager. But just as I was talking a moment ago, how I don't want my money on the very worst teams in college football. Boy, I'm not looking for a lot of spots to step in front of the very best teams. I'm really not. We know that Syracuse punched Clemson in the mouth last year. So Clemson's going to come focused. I know that Syracuse got their ass kicked last week and couldn't stop anyone. And I know that their offense hasn't worked in 2 games. DeVito is no Dungy at quarterback, and that's very clear already. So while, the value, there's a ton of value in theory on Syracuse in this ballgame, I don't think that if Clemson's beating them down, they're not going to stop. But Clemson's not, Clemson didn't put anyone away last week. They dominated the game and didn't cover the point spread, and now they're laying more than that here to another decent foe. So it's another one of the games, lots of games to talk about and consider. This is not one that I'm even close to getting the betting window with. I don't want the dog, and I don't want the favorite.
Interesting breakdown. Jarvis Wilson says, can someone explain to me why some people are backing West Virginia this weekend? What is your spot on this West Virginia game?
So I was asking the exact same question. Literally, I have a couple of phone calls every week. That I talk to guys who I've been talking to for, mostly for many years, but a couple guys who, over time you build up contacts, you want to talk, run through the card with people who you respect. And it was a game that absolutely stood out to me, that NC State, West Virginia. And my thought was, NC State's cheap. Why isn't this line at 7? Well, how can there be any West Virginia money? And my buddy's like, no, this is what they're looking at for West Virginia. They're like, the program's not way down. They had a bad game last week. They're not hopeless. And who died and left NC State is a team that you want to lay a touchdown with on the road. All of which makes sense. But I look at West, the teams that are going through scheme changes and regime changes. Those aren't teams I want in September. I can understand why NC State's laying this price. That's the way I would look. But smart people I know have guidelined me enough on this one to say, hey, maybe you watch that. Again, there's 60, 70 games on the board every week in college football. If you find you're looking for some, but you don't need to bet most. You don't need to bet all. And this is one I'm not gonna make a wager on. I think West Virginia might stink, and my gut reaction is to bet against them. But the markets aren't there yet, and some people that I respect aren't there yet either. So I'll be passing the game.
Going to be passing. My guy Guillermo Zertucci, a spectacular thoroughbred handicapper, says South Carolina going up against Alabama. This total opened up at 60. It's now at 62. And we've been, although Bookmaker, BetOnline, and Heritage have dropped it from 25, Pinnacle opened up at 25.5 and is still at 25.5. Do you think South Carolina can cover at home?
Well, it's the same story we just talked about with Clemson, Syracuse. The Alabamas of the world. I'm not looking to step in front of Alabama. All right. At the end of the season, and we can go back year after year. I can grab one of the books over here. Look at the end of the season. Alabama 8-5 ATS, 8-6, 9-5, 7-6. They don't have losing seasons, bad losing seasons against the spread every year, despite the fact that they're the most public team in college football, despite the fact that they're the most highest priced team in college football. They're elite. They're not a team I want to step in front of. And here's, Bentley's out for the season. Not like Bentley was great by any stretch of the imagination, but, do you want a new QB against this Alabama? You know that Bama's scoring on defense in this game at once, twice. I just don't want to do it. And it's not like, oh, yeah, now I'm going to back Alabama here. No, I'm not going to lay close to 4 touchdowns on the road against a decent SEC squad, a game that could be lower scoring. No, it's an easy pass. It's a game that, I don't want the favorite. I don't want the dog. So, no, I'm not going to get involved. But that's, again, a lot of people like to bet the top 5, the Georgias, the Clemsons, the Alabamas, the Ohio States. I don't bet a lot of those games. You don't want to be on those teams, and you don't want to be against them. The very top squads, it's hard to find value with, and they're good enough that you really are not in any rush to step in front of them. So, not like I'm not looking at those games and find the occasional spot, but, the juggernauts are every bit in many ways as difficult to back or bet against as some of the bottom feeders are. I'm like, you can't bet these bottom feeders because it'll kill you at the end of the year when you add it all up. The big favorites and the super public chalk teams are the same way in a sense, even though, like I said, they do have winning spread records when all said and done. It's just not in my makeup. I don't feel comfortable saying, yeah, let's lay 25.5 on the road with Alabama this week. It's just not how I handicap.
I get it. It's important for us to hear this. Very, very important. A couple games we haven't talked about. We're running out of time here. One of them is Duke, Middle Tennessee. Duke on the road as a favorite. This total opened up at 51.5 and it's gone down to 51 or 50.5. Do you trust Duke as a road favorite? Teddy covers.
I think it's cheap. First reaction was cheap. The second reaction after I looked at it was cheap. And there's a little bit of love for Middle Tennessee State. They moved the football in week 1 at Michigan, but it's a program that had the same quarterback, the coach's son, for 6 years. And when you're breaking in a new QB and you're stepping up in class a little bit, the Duke opener against Alabama is not what we're going to see this week. I can only lay with the Blue Devils. I think that's a reasonable price to pay against a team from Murfreesboro that, it's a big game for Middle Tennessee. I'm not convinced that, but it's another one where, okay, the box score looked good against Michigan, so now this team's getting respect. A little bit too much respect. I would take Duke if I played the game.
Would take Duke. We have touched briefly on this game, but I'd like to hear it once more, and that's Texas Tech, Arizona. This total keeps going up. We've now seen it reach 77 at Heritage and UWager and Pinnacle. And Texas Tech just 2-point favorites on the road in Arizona. Are you making a move on this game?
If I was, I could only look at the road favorite and potentially the over. I think that Texas Tech's offense is more than capable of moving the football against Arizona. That's what Texas Tech does, even in the post-Kingsbury era. They're going to chuck the football around. It's a good quarterback. They're loaded with receivers. Arizona defensively is spotty. And, when Hawaii got to 45 against this team, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Texas Tech get in the 40s in this ballgame. In fact, I'm confident that Texas Tech is going to approach or exceed 40 points in this ballgame. The question is if that Red Raiders defense can be able to stop Khalil Tate. And, Tate at times has been just, jaw-dropping, wow-inducing. And the Red Raiders defense isn't necessarily a defense that I trust to get stops when tired in the fourth quarter in a late-night game in Arizona. So I understand the over money here. I wouldn't bet under in this game. I do think Texas Tech's the better of these two teams, but I'm not in love with laying the price. I lean that way. And if you're going to bet it, don't lay a field goal. It's 2 now. I think this will be 3 by kickoff. So if you are going to bet it, I would bet it now and not wait. That's the one advice that I think is real for this game. But I lean Red Raiders, and I lean over, and I doubt I get to the window with either one.
doubt he gets to the window with everyone. Well, let's close this up with what Bono is on. Bono liking Virginia. He got it at 7. Now it's 7.5. That's a big, that hook is, it's a crucial number to get it at 7. But he still likes that 7.5, and he likes going back to the well with the over. What do you think of Bono's looks on Florida State, Virginia?
I certainly wouldn't bet either one the other way. No question I wouldn't bet that. I really wouldn't. I like Virginia. I like Bronco. I like the Cavs with a chance to beat an opponent that has stymied them. From a value standpoint, though, I don't love it. You look at the games of the year on this, and Florida State wasn't a 7-point dog in this game, and they just got embarrassed against a lesser foe last week. Sometimes you see the teams that get slapped around a little bit when they're not paying attention. All of a sudden, the next week they're catching points and they're paying attention. So I lean Virginia. I'm not getting the window. Over does make a lot of sense. Although betting over in Bronco Mendenhall games over the years hasn't exactly been a recipe for success.
I hear that.
So I guess, did I answer the question? I don't even know. Bono, it's a pass for me. Good luck, Bono. Good guy.
Great guy. Great guy. I love it. I love these breakdowns, and I can't wait for tomorrow because we'll talk about the Friday night NCAA football slate, and then we will lock in some more action on the Saturday card. Teddy Covers, what a treat it is to roll with you guys. It's just great. Al Hard says, Jimmy, I feel like I'm in class. Thanks for all the great info, Teddy. Respect. Yes, Teddy, respect. Thank you so much for joining us. Teddy, where can we find you on Twitter, and what do you get up to on these weekends on Twitter?
What do I get up to?
Yeah.
I get up to about 100, I don't know, 98.6. Follow me on Twitter at Teddy_covers. We're going to tweet all weekend as we're watching the games. Hopefully give you some information that you're looking for. And, of course, show links like this one. We always tweet that out at Teddy_covers.
There he is, Teddy Covers. Thank you so much for joining us. We love having you. You can catch Teddy Covers right here Monday to Friday on Betting with the Bag morning shows. Enjoy your afternoon in Vegas. And, thank you for all your insights.
Cheers, man. It's a fun show, Jimmy. I have fun here every day. So I appreciate it's fast-paced, lots of questions, and lots of interaction with the guys in the chat. So I appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
And we will see you tomorrow. There he is, Teddy Covers. What a great show today. Teddy Covers and Bono on today's show. A lot of afternoon baseball. And in afternoon baseball, I'm only on 2 plays. I'm only on that first 5 under in the White Sox-Royals game. First 5 under, 5 at -120. And then I'm on the Cubs on the -1 line. And that's it. And I have no concerns if my quantity of plays is going down in September. Alec Holligan says, big respect here from Vegas, Teddy. Alex Ramirez says, Teddy's wisdoms. Love that stuff. We got a big late show tonight. Big late show. Flash will be on the show letting us know what he is on in NFL. He's going to be live on the show beside me. Also, we have Anna Merrick breaking down UFC after a huge winning card he's coming off of last week. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. Let's have a profitable afternoon. Let's come back in the black, then bang out the late MLB games and talk more football. Most importantly, though,
Leche, a los bookmakers.